On ESPN tonight from Cameron Indoor Stadium on senior night, which here also doubles as a farewell to freshmen. Zion Williamson and the rest of the class in their last appearance here in Cameron, almost certainly. Williamson will not play, misses his fourth straight start, his fifth straight game if you include the North Carolina game in which he was hurt, though progress is being made. More on that momentarily. The Blue Devils take on Wake Forest tonight. Duke is still in the race for the ACC regular season, but they will need major help. They will need Virginia to lose against Louisville at home, and the way Virginia looked last night, it didn't look like they're going to lose to many people. And, of course, the season ender against Carolina on Saturday. Reese Davis and LaFonso Ellis here. Zion Williamson is making progress. He had his first basketball workout directed by coaches today. Not a lot of contact. Teammates stayed around to watch that. But Fonz, they expect him back at some point. He's not there now. What's the difference in Duke with Zion and without?
This team is not as efficient without Zion, particularly on the offensive end. People forget Zion's averaging 22 points a game, but he's also got one of the best field goal shooting percentages in the nation as well, at 68% from the field. Look at that 8-point per game difference there. That's a 12-point difference, and it's because of his ability to get in the lane, get on the offensive glass, and get out in transition. The area where they miss him also is on the defensive end because he erases all mistakes at the rim with 2 blocks per game.
Mike Krzyzewski telling us before the game there's not really anybody quite like him. The Blue Devils have been learning to play without Zion. Jumping center for Duke tonight is one of the seniors, Antonio Vrankovic, who makes his first career start for the Blue Devils, and Wake Forest controls the tip. Brandon Childress has it. He is the Wake Forest Deacons leader and the son of Randolph Childress, the ACC great, and he has it with Alex O'Connell, who's been starting since the Syracuse game on the road in the lineup again for Duke. Driving to the bucket and putting it in, but having it waved off is Jalen Horde. Horde averaging 13 points per game. That the offensive foul will be called on Horde.
Yeah, I thought Jalen Horde actually avoided, eluded, slipped to the side of that potential charge there. I thought that was a missed one there. That should have been a no call or a block at the very most.
You think correctly.
Thank you for that affirmation.
I will try to not jump on the gentleman in stripes tonight, but I did not agree with that one. Ryan Groover, Lee Cassell, and Brian Dorsey, our crew, an accomplished crew, and perhaps now we've evened everything out. I'm not saying that wasn't the right call. Foul was called on R.J. Barrett. That's his first. Barrett, the ACC's leading scorer, and making almost certainly, you always have to offer that caveat, but this is his final appearance in Cameron Indoor tonight.
We have makeup calls in the NBA. We can bring those things to college, too. Pass it out there.
Shondi Brown gets O'Connell in the air. This Wake Forest team has struggled on both ends, particularly on defense, but they're also a poor scoring team. It's averaging over 64 points per game in ACC play. And now it's O'Connell, who's becoming a starter, shot it well from three. Couldn't get that one.
This is going to be important for Wake Forest to not turn the basketball over against Duke here. They had 16 turnovers in their last meeting.
Foul was called on O'Connell. It's his first. Jalen Horde averaging 13 points per game. He's a 74% free throw shooter. You see Mike Krzyzewski, 5-time national champion in his 39th season here in Durham. He's been to 12 Final Fours and believes if he can get Zion Williamson healthy, that this team has an opportunity to join that ethereal realm of national champion.
Yeah, absolutely. He draws so much attention on the offensive end. You can put him in isolation situations out on the wing, on the block, at the free throw line. As we talked about in the open, he's terrific defensively on the ball, but he's great off the ball on the weak side, coming to block shots at the rim.
Cam Reddish, another of the freshmen, highly thought of, passes it to Trey Jones, who is the leader. Jones has struggled shooting, but has been great in virtually every other area. Wake Forest fighting on the boards and getting the errant shot, and here comes Childress. Laying it in is Kenneth Smart. And Wake Forest to a quick 3-0 lead. Cam Reddish in transition. Blue Devils still haven't been able to knock the lid off the bucket.
I like what Wake Forest is doing here. They've been able to get into the paint almost every time down the floor, and that's one of those turnovers that we talked about, which ignites Duke's transition offense.
And one, R.J. Barrett, an ill-advised foul by Sharon Wright Jr. I think Sharon got caught between whether to let him go or to really make sure he didn't make the shot, and he did neither. Now it's a chance for a three-point play.
Yeah, no one communicated to let Brandon Childress know someone was coming out behind, and you allowed Duke to get out in transition. One of the most explosive transition teams we have in all of college basketball.
They're first or second in the nation in points in the paint, points off turnovers, and transition points as Frankovich blocks a shot. The senior getting a moment here. Kick to the corner for Reddish. Smart takes it away for Wake. And Childress throws it behind. It looked like that just came off his hand funny as he was trying to feed the Horde in transition. Third turnover already. And there is Danny Manning, a college basketball legend who is now in his 5th year at Wake Forest. It's been a difficult season this year. It's been a difficult run against ranked teams, as you saw that number 3 and 38 against ranked opponents. Reddish driving, and he'll be called for the offensive foul.
Now that was a great call. Weak side defensive player Kenneth Smart getting himself established as the, yes, perfect outside of the restricted area. What a nice call by the official.
Kenneth Smart, who drew that foul, as a transfer from Buffalo. He's been a member of 3 NCAA tournament teams. That Buffalo team is really strong. He playing time started 25 of 27 games for the MAC champions last year. Coming to play in the ACC as a graduate transfer.
Brings a lot of experience to a very young Wake Forest team.
Jalen Horde gets the shot, and he's fortunate he wasn't called for travel. From our crow's nest position, that pivot foot was lifted before the move was made. But let it go, made the move. Didn't have any big outcome. Long 2 on the way from R.J. Barrett. Wake Forest with a 5-2 lead in the ball. Johnny Brown. Tap out, and Jones is there to grab it. Wake Forest is not a good three-point shooting team, less than 31%, and Jones gets to the cup.
I love what Trey Jones did there. Cut off the angle of the defender, Sharon Wright Jr., and able to put his head underneath the rim and finish it. Well done there by number 3 in Wright. Jalen Horde, number 10 in black, has to continue to be aggressive when he catches the ball on the offensive end for Wake.
Childress using the screen. Jones closing out on Horde, who just raises up and shoots it over him. Jalen Horde knocks down the 3. He's got a half dozen already.
0 for 6 from 3 over his last 4 games. That'll be a big confidence boost for him, but he's got to be aggressive. Continue to be aggressive when he catches the ball on the offensive end. I like the way he started so far.
And knocking it down from the corner. That is exactly what they brought Alex O'Connell into the lineup to do, and Duke has its first 3. I mentioned Wake's not a good three-point shooting team. Like Wake Forest, Duke is on pace to have its worst three-point shooting season ever. And oddly enough, they've been much worse in Cameron than on the road. Another block shot for the Blue Devils. For O'Connell. That'll go over the top. And that brings us to the first media timeout. Wake Forest hanging tough in the first segment of the game. 1-point lead for the Deacons. It is senior night at Cameron, but it's also farewell night, almost certainly, to a great class of freshmen. And when you open up the yearbook of freshman memories for this Duke team, the superlatives, how about the best dunk? January 5th against Clemson, Zion put it in 360 after stealing it from Shelton Mitchell. And I like this as much as anything. R.J. Barrett celebrating with Zion, Brooke.
With the likelihood of all these freshmen playing their last game at Cameron Indoor Stadium, I asked Coach K, what did Zion, RJ, Trey, and Cam bring to this program? And he said one big thing, security. He said these freshmen know who they are. They've had that effect on our entire team. They have great chemistry. They're friends with everyone on campus. And really, I should be thanking their parents for raising such good guys. And Coach K also said he wished he could call this last game night instead of senior night.
Brooke, the dynamic has changed for final home games for many programs across the country because of the number of transfers, which is fine, and also the advent, in this case, of a lot of guys leaving early. Wake Forest barely getting a shot off from Isaiah Musias before the shot clock, and the foul is no good, and here come The Blue Devils, Jack White has checked into the game. Saturday made 3 3-pointers, snapping an 0 for 28 streak for a guy who's a good shooter. He fell into a horrific slump.
And completely lost his confidence as we saw him shooting one of his favorite threes, which is corner 3 at Virginia Tech last week.
On the way and knocking the bottom out of it is Shondi Brown hitting the 3, and Wake hasn't been a great three-point shooting team. They've made a couple in the early going.
What they've done so far, Reese, is they've taken the first best shot available. At times they get down the shot clock. No communication there on R.J. Barrett's drive, which was something that drives Danny Manning nuts, that he talked about a lot today in shoot-around. A young team doesn't communicate very well, and it leads to wide open plays like that from R.J. Barrett.
Saw a lot of that on Saturday against Syracuse. Childress lost White. Offensive rebound, something Wake has done well. The Cynic might say that there are a lot of opportunities because they haven't shot well, but then they turned it over, and here comes Duke. White's running ahead, and he couldn't quite get the timing right on the alley-oop. Brandon Childress. Now Trey Jones going to try to orchestrate something. Blue Devils trailing by 2 in the early going. Final home game of this season for Duke. Barrett.
I love the decision. Torrey Johnson, number 4 in black, is 6'3". R.J. Barrett is 6'7". Put him in the situation, isolating him up at the foul line, let him get in the lane and just rise over the top. Good read by the offense there for Duke to find the mismatch on the floor.
Active hands from the Blue Devil defense. Back up, and another bucket from Shondi Brown.
I like what Wake Forest is doing here. Last game, Reese, they were going too deep and trying to make plays at the rim. Duke had 13 block shots in that game. Now they're pulling up before they get to the shot blockers. I like what they're doing on the offensive end.
And more good defense from Wake Forest on Reddish's drive. Fouls called, and
Childress is down.
I think Brandon Childress very slow to get up. I think he, just from the reaction, it looked like he took one in the face there. Like he got it right under the chin. That's the second foul on Cam Reddish. Childress, good position.
Oh,
he got it.
Yeah.
I think he got it right on the side of the eye.
Yeah, Cam Reddish, 6'8", 218 pounds. Brandon Childress, 6 feet, 190.
Childress going to get his wits back about him. He plays a ton of minutes, running down free down the middle for an easy dunk with Sunday Okeke. Okeke's been getting some extra minutes with Olivier Sarr being out with an injured ankle. He is missing his 4th straight game for Wake Forest. There's Childress on the sideline. Sitting by his dad, Randolph, appears to be no worse for the wear.
That's a good sign, too, because they can ill afford to lose Brandon Childress. Leads the team in minutes played at 36 minutes per game, which is the most that any player has played under Danny Manning.
Okeke scoring his first point. Brooke Weisbrod with more on Brandon Childress.
Yeah, guys, I heard you talking about how much he's played, and he's been really cognizant of how many minutes he's been putting in on the floor and paying a lot more attention to rest and recovery. He said he's understanding how to go hard at practice at days he needs to and how to lighten up, and obviously really buying into the ice baths and staying off the video games late at night so he can sleep.
What's wrong with video games late at night? That
you know they keep you up. Come on.
They get you academically ineligible, too. Why don't you just ask me if I know?
So do you know?
Yeah.
R.J. Barrett looks like a video game scoring sometimes. He just scores at will and just did again. 2-point lead for Wake Forest. Okeke inside. Jack White was reaching. He'll be called for the foul.
R.J. Barrett is just a monster to guard anywhere out on the floor, but particularly when you let him catch it up around that foul line area. So good, soft touch, R.J. Barrett getting it going.
Red carpet if you come to Cameron Indoor. Dwayne Wade, 3-time NBA champion here at Cameron to see the Blue Devils. He and Mike Krzyzewski developed a very close relationship when Coach K was leading USA basketball. Played with D. Wade a little bit, right? Or almost crossed over?
Yeah, almost crossed over. I retired from the Miami Heat in 2003, drafted him in 2005. I Made a bad business decision there. If I would have stayed just 2 more years, I could have played with he and Shaq and won a world championship.
Those guys won a gold medal together, Mike Krzyzewski and Dwayne Wade. There are a lot of basketball dignitaries here. You got a peek at Mike Dunleavy. Udonis Haslem is here. Shane Battier, Justice Winslow among those in the crowd.
That would be a good pickup game.
Yeah, get a little run going here. We get Fonz back in there for the one pickup game a year you play. Brooke can play. I'll sit on the side and watch. And R.J. Barrett is into double figures. He's hit 5 of his first 7 shots. The rest of the Blue Devils just 2 of 8. As Duke pulls even at 15.
As long as we stay half court, I'm okay.
Corey Johnson handling for Wake Forest. Isaiah Musius cut back door, couldn't get it.
Nice
Ford
pass.
has a good look inside, and missing the first shot is Okeke, and he had a really good look at it, and that's the kind of thing that has kept Wake Forest from developing offensively. Danny Manning was talking about it today. The number of shots have been missed this season from point-blank range.
Yeah, inexplicably, because I love the decision-making from the perimeter players on Wake Forest team tonight. They're getting in the lane, they're drawing an additional defender and making the pass, but the bigs for Wake Forest have to finish around the rim.
R.J. Barrett scored the last 8 for Duke. Trey Jones, good look, jabbing Delorier inside. Jabbing might have been well served to go up immediately.
Yes.
Appeared to be open. He did draw the foul. Coming up next on ESPN, number 6 Kentucky goes to Oxford to take on the Rebels at the Pavilion. Beautiful arena that Ole Miss plays in now. You can watch it on the ESPN app from anywhere. Kentucky is 1 game behind Tennessee and LSU in the SEC. They're at Ole Miss tonight, game against Florida this weekend. Wildcats have beaten the Rebels 9 straight times. Ole Miss hasn't won since 2011.
Wow, for them to get a win in that game. Brian Tyree, their team's leading scorer, has to have a big game in their loss against Arkansas over the weekend. He had 20 points, 17 in the second half, but wasn't enough to pull off the win. They're going to need him to be big.
Javin Delorier gives Duke its first lead of the night.
Dribble penetration into the lane, and the kick has been really good for Wake Forest. They've got to get a lot more of that here as we get to the second part of this first half.
Ford working on Marquise Bolden. Bolden does a good job cutting him off. Doesn't let him get his shot off. Okeke, he's been getting good position, but fumbled it away. Shot clock at 3. And it's a turnover. Trey Jones first to the floor, throws it ahead, and it's knocked out of bounds. Look to me by Wake Forest. The officials are throwing their hands into the air, meaning they don't know. And I thought Wake Forest was touched up all last and knocked it out of bounds. But
I was just a little disappointed they didn't look up here and ask us for our opinion.
well, that's why we're here. See?
Yeah, see, I thought Duke
maybe that
touched it
was
last.
RJ touched it last. Okay.
Yeah.
Men in stripes, better eyes.
That's right.
Just this time, I'll give them this one.
I love the teamwork, though. It's great.
Coach K wanted a shot clock violation, but they ruled that Duke had gained possession at least momentarily. So Wake Forest trailing by 1, headed toward the midway point of the first half.
You see Jalen Horde, number 10 in black, get a touch on this possession.
You see how many balls come loose when Trey Jones is in the vicinity. He popped it away from Childress as Horde got the easy look inside to put Wake back on top. So many guys just trying to handle the ball, make a routine play on top, and there's a deflection. There's a pop from underneath, and the ball pops up on them.
The guys are so used to being able to make plays without guys underneath them, and that's what makes Trey Jones so good. And folks, Jalen Horde has gotten himself off to a great start. I just said he needed a touch because he hadn't touched it in a while. And when he's catching it in there against the smaller guards of Duke, he is finishing, making quick moves and finishing inside. Well done by number 10 in black, Jalen Horde.
He's got 8 of Wake Forest, 17 points. You see where he stands among ACC freshmen.
Top 25 recruit, one of the highest rated recruits they've had since Al Farouk Aminu.
Ikenna Smart back into the game, and it's 1 in the bucket. That's 4 for Ikenna. Jones driving and switching hands. Marquise Bolden with a follow.
Tell you what, Reese, Marquise Bolden has been playing really well in the absence of Zion Williamson. 15 points per game over the last 3. And if you don't get a body on him, he is terrific at finding angles and lanes to the basket to get the offensive rebound and put it back in, as you saw there. 6'11", 250 pounds, getting a running start. That's hard to box out.
The second foul on Jalen Horde, too, and Marquise has been, I was about to say he's been great at the free throw line. He's made 14 straight, and when you have it going well, sometimes you get a break. Got a little lane violation, so he'll have the opportunity to keep that streak alive. He's coming off a season high 15 points, 10 rebounds, his second double-double against Miami on Saturday. Bolden on the way, and it's pure. That's 15 consecutive free throws and 3 points for him, and we're back even at 19.
He's been so much more aggressive on the offensive end this year, and I think it's primarily because it's the first time he's been completely healthy. A different Marquise Bolden out there on the floor this year for Duke.
Jordan Goldwire is checked in for the Blue Devils, number 14. That was him pressuring the ball a moment ago. Now he's underneath the basket. There goes Smart again. Smart, okay, rolls it home.
That's very nice. A little dribble drive to get the defensive player to slide up to his right, a little spin back. And how about the poise to gather himself with the hook shot over the top? Well done by Kenneth Smart.
He's got 6 points, triple his season average. He'd really been scuffling from the field, too, as Barrett draws the foul. He'd been just 3 of 17 from the floor over his previous 8 games, but he has 3 field goals tonight. Wake Forest has the lead, and R.J. Barrett, who is a human scoring machine, draws the foul. Foul was called on Brown. It's his first. Barrett, however, has scuffled a bit of late at the free throw line.
You know what's scary about him, Reese? He actually reclassified. He should actually be a high school senior. Can you imagine going against that kid in high school?
It would not be fair. Sometimes it doesn't seem fair at this level. This is the one of the areas he can make shots. We've seen it as he continues to develop. It looks to me like he's going to become a much more reliable shooter than from the perimeter. He can get buckets.
Yeah, no, mechanics are good. And that's two things for me. A consistent 3-ball for number 5 in White, and the second part is going right and finishing right. Oftentimes, if you can get him right and keep him right, he doesn't score it as well because it's rare that he uses the offhand. He's going to need it at the next level.
Using the left hand, Shonda Brown. He's got 7 now. Wake Forest is acquitting itself quite well. Deacons 4 and 12 in ACC play. Got blasted in their last game against Syracuse, lost by 25 at home, but off to a good start here at Cameron tonight. Barrett stumbled, avoided the travel. Goldwire driving, kicks it out. Here's White lining up the 3. After that 0 for 28 streak, he went 3 for 3 against Miami, and now he's got another one tonight.
It's so funny when you're a shooter, if you can just see it go through the basket once, it's amazing how your level of confidence just grows, and that's exactly what's happened to Jack White.
Good take by Musius, but he couldn't finish. Jones, White, another. Yes! Friendly Durham banking hours for Jack White.
And this crowd has been waiting for him to come out of that slump, and come out of it he has. 5 straight made threes for Jack White.
Musius tries to answer, and he does.
And that's big because he was 0 for his last 7 from 3 over the last 5 games. He's really struggled with his confidence shooting.
Ray Jones, foul in his way, and will go to break with 6:50 left in the half. The foul was called on Torrey Johnson. So Jack White is a good shooter who is in a horrible slump. Watch him relocate. See it, beat it. That's the first one. Feeling good. Keep it going. Called it. He said There's some relief there. He said, I shouldn't have to smile after a made three. At the New York Life ACC tournament in Charlotte, Fonz and I will be there. Looking forward to that. Always a tremendous event. As it stands now, you potentially have a third Duke-North Carolina matchup in the semifinal.
Yeah. We can't get enough of that matchup.
Good pass from Barrett to Delorier, and good defense by Smart to stop him and to force Delorier into the travel and the turnover, the fifth of the night for Duke.
Yeah, and that's not new territory for Kenneth Smart, number 35 in black there. Last year in the NCAA tournament when he's playing for Buffalo, he gave DeAndre Ayton the #1 overall pick in the NBA. Fits with his physicality down in the box. And it looked just like plays that we saw there.
Buffalo smashed them too. They played Arizona and Kentucky last year, and they are going to have to be dealt with this year too. A lot of teams from the non-traditional power conferences having really good seasons. And Wofford, I don't know if Lipscomb would be an at-large team, but certainly they've built a bit of a resume. I think Wofford's in great shape. Jack White driving. White couldn't get it to go. It's off the side of the backboard, and Wake Forest looking for his first points in transition tonight. Brown lines it up. And the three ball has been an elusive one for the Demon Deacs this season.
Yeah, only 31% from three on the season. They're really good on that offensive glass, though, and excellent at getting to the foul line. So anytime they've been able to get paint touches, something good has happened.
Well, that's it. Both Duke and Wake shoot right at 31% from three. The difference has been Duke's got a lot more answers inside the three, like that guy, R.J. Barrett.
Yeah, so hard to guard when he catches that basketball at that elbow area. When the free throw line meets the little semicircle there, he can drive it all the way to the basket. Teams are starting to put pressure on him and force him to go right, and I think he's smart with that little pull-up J. Well done by R.J. Barrett.
Barrett's already set an ACC freshman record for 20-point games from the 13 to 9. He's well on his way to extending it. And a great drive and score from Sharon Wright Jr., his first bucket. The son of Sharon Wright, who was an All-American at Clemson, the 6th overall pick in the draft in 1994. So a lot of good bloodlines on Dan Manning's team.
Yeah. Sharon Wright Sr., hard to guard in that low post.
Barrett wouldn't get it going from three, and here comes Childress. Good to see him back into the game after taking that shot to the noggin earlier. Another missed three. White chases down the rebound.
Reese, the bigs from Wake Forest are starting to slip out of those screens. What worked well for Wake Forest earlier is when they really set the screen to create separation for the guards. They've got to get back to it.
The second time, Barrett failed to make that pass into the guy in the low block. ESPN and the ACC will bring you the ACC network in August. All 15 universities on one network. You can visit ACCN.com to learn much more about that. It'll be a ton of basketball. We'll start with football. Georgia Tech and Clemson is right. Puts it up there nice and soft and gets to roll. He has 4.
He's putting an extra amount of arc on that shot of his. Wasn't knocking down shots earlier in the year, but after adding that like 10 to 12-foot arc on that shot, he's been getting some soft rolls and has been knocking it down with a lot more consistency as of late.
Cam Reddish driving, and Reddish is going to be called for a foul, and that's his 3rd. A couple of them have been charges. Reddish, known as a three-point shooter, trying to be more aggressive. It's gotten him into foul trouble tonight.
Championship week is here, and ESPN has the possession arrow. Oh my. Y'all run the game, y'all just commentate from the side. I'm like, oh God.
And guys, Fonz was just talking about exactly what Jay Will said. Zion Williamson missing the game, and you see the numbers, but it really goes beyond numbers. The difference in the Duke team without Zion on the floor.
Yeah, when Duke would get flat, as they've been for the most part of this entire first half, it's Zion coming over to block a shot to get the fans involved. It's Zion getting a big dunk in transition to get the crowd and to get his teammates moving. Right now, the entire Duke team is flat. There's no energy. We're being a roost, and I can't even feel any energy. And that has never happened this year when we've been here calling games at Cameron while Zion has been available.
Lucius has Trey Jones posted. It rattles out. Bolden with the rebound. Headed toward the 3-minute mark. When these two teams played in Winston-Salem earlier this year, it was a little bit of a, maybe to this level, and they had Zion. It was only an 8-point lead at halftime. Duke turned it into a runaway in the second half. So at least there's some similarities in the script, but the biggest difference being that there's no Williamson to rely on. He was 13 of 16 in that game, and Trey Jones off a good feed from Barrett, got it up quickly and ties the game.
What a nice cut by Trey Jones. Whenever your teammate picks up the basketball and the defense turns his head, you should look to flash behind, and that's exactly what Trey Jones did there as Brandon Childress knocks down a nice pull-up Jay.
And that was his first bucket find. For much of the night, Trey Jones has been guarding him. 20 of the 26 primary defensive assignments for Jones this year have been held below their season average and shooting percentage, 18 below their scoring average. He's a terrific defender, and he's going to pick up Brandon now. Brandon got loose by a screen earlier and shakes Jones this time and finds Sharon Wright, who launched one, was well off the mark, and it'll be Blue Devils basketball.
Reese, remember what we talked about earlier? The bigs of Wake Forest were really getting a lot of meat on the screens, which was allowing the guards of Wake Forest to get some separation and turn the corner. And to your point, that was a nice screen by one of the bigs for Wake Forest on Trey Jones to give Brandon Childress a little separation. They've got to get back to setting good hard screens.
Barrett cutting, and it's contested by Sharon Wright, and now they're all tied up inside as Barrett walks away. He's getting a little too physical.
Tell you what, that was a heck of a response and a quick reaction there by Sharon Wright Jr., number 2 in black. Because that's normally a dunk for him. And look at Wright elevating up all ball on that one.
Yeah, that was the clean part. And then Childress coming in to try to get the strip later. And then Brandon perhaps still irritated from the shot he took earlier. He's going to take a chance to get his. The little guys have to fight back every now and then, Fonz.
Yeah, no question about it. I'll tell you what, Danny Manning's got to be pleased with his weak side defense.
All right, got $1:46 to play in the first half. Half a minute break, and we'll finish the first half at Cameron. Or, actually, I'm just told now we're having a little bit of review and staying here, probably looking at that last play under the basket to see if there is a flagrant one involved. So if there was a play, a good enough play on the ball from Brandon Childress.
Did you just have to pump your brakes a little bit? That's pretty good.
I can spin and pivot on a dime.
Nice. Let's see if there was.
This is clean. No foul called here. Now here comes the
flagrant
foul. Here. I don't see anything wrong
it's a
with
play
that.
on.
He got his
it's a play on. Let's see here afterwards.
Oh, no, wait, let's watch this thing right. Let's watch this at the end here and see if maybe we'll look at something else.
Brandon Childress with a little hold here, maybe. Yeah, a little hold there, but let's play on. That's nothing.
Yeah, I think we're good here, guys.
You know what, though, Reese? I'm in favor of whether it's 60 or 90 seconds, a clock that the officials get to use, and if they don't make a decision within that 60 to 90 seconds, then the play that's called on the floor should stick. Just to speed up the game. It's taking a little too long.
I think Bob Wischusen has been a big proponent of that as well. I think you could use that across sports, and as we anticipated, it's nothing, common foul or foul in the act of shooting. I guess R.J. Barrett's going to go to the free throw line. RJ on the season about 68%. Got front iron with the soft touch. Gets it home. And Barrett now with 14 points. Barrett averages 23 a night. Without Zion, or since if you include the North Carolina game, those games since then, RJ's been right at 26, and we're tied for the 8th time tonight. Shuffled the feet. Did a good job getting Bolden in the air. But
yeah, he did. And Danny Manning talked about that a little bit today in shoot-around, wanting his guys to play off 2 feet. So once he picked that one up, come to a 2-foot jump stop there, that would allow him to be able to shoot it, pass it, or find someone kind of relocating behind him to make the pass to. Missed opportunity there for Wake.
Barring an explosion from Duke in the final minute 20, this is a victorious first half, it feels like, for Danny Manning and Wake Forest. And the fight between White and Sunday Okeke for the ball, and It'll go to the Demon Deacons.
He's all of a sudden that ball's coming a little funny off Jack White's hand there, and I noticed that on the last 2 misses. The first one he made, nice and clean, and just kind of rolling off his pinky finger there on his right hand. He's going to have to straighten that out as he comes back out here to warm up in the second half.
The timeout call. Let's have a look at that now, Fonz, in terms of, you wonder if it's mental or if it's something mechanical.
Let's take a look here, because we're seeing it up here off the top, and that ball's going to the right. So he's going to have to straighten that out because he was stroking that thing earlier in the game.
I was ready to make my mark, but I didn't know how. I was working the same job for a few years. I had a degree and some experience, but no career. I opened the Career Builder app and found an awesome job at a company I love. It even built a resume for me with skills I didn't know I had. I applied with a tap, and I start on Monday. Career Builder. Work can work.
Minute 14 to play in the first half. Cameron indoors, senior night, and in some cases one and done night, freshman night for many of the Blue Devils. Danny Manning's Wake Forest team, which has struggled mightily, 4-12 in the ACC, 1-9 on the road this season. Fighting a chance to take the lead as Brandon Childress pushes it into the front court. Duke without Zion Williamson again tonight, missing his 4th straight start, 5th straight game if you include North Carolina. He was injured in the opening seconds there. Shawnee Brown pulls up, and Brown's had a nice first half. He now has 9.
And that's the playing off 2 feet that we talked about. Dribble drive, jump stop, gives you an opportunity to shoot it or pass it. That time he shot it. Good decision there by Shawnee Brown.
Ray Jones missed badly. Marquise Bolden will go back to the free throw line where he has been tremendously efficient, making 15 consecutive from the charity stripe. Saturday, final weekend of the regular season. 2 best games are on ESPN. 6 Eastern, it'll be Duke and Carolina. Do you know, 13 of the last 15 years, the team that won the second matchup went deeper into the NCAA tournament.
Really?
Just a little nugget for you there. Then Michigan and Michigan State, part of the Sonic Blockbuster Saturday Showcase, presented by 5 Hour Energy. Michigan and Michigan State, both games on ESPN and on the ESPN app.
I think that Duke-Carolina game is going to be determined by how well super freshman Kobe White of North Carolina handles the full court pressure of Trey Jones, 94 feet for 40 minutes.
I'm a big fan of Kobe White.
Yes.
But honesty compels me to say he did not handle it well in the first meeting here in Cameron Indoor. He was out of sorts for much of this.
But there's an asterisk on that game, though, because Zion didn't play. He started it, but didn't finish it.
Marquise makes one of 2, so his free throw streak comes to an end. Wake Forest with a 1-point lead. Lucius missed. White fighting for the rebound. Checking into the game is Michael Wynn. He got on the floor for Wake Forest. Still plenty of time. Brandon Childress a look. And now whistled inside.
Yeah, he shot that ball way too quickly, Reese. He was unaware of how much time was left on the game clock. That's why when you catch that basketball, don't be too much in a rush. Become aware of how much time is either on the shot clock or game clock. Missed opportunity again there for Wake Forest.
Sunday Okeke was called for the foul. It's his second. Duke started a little chilly from the floor, missing 5 of their first 6, and now they have missed 6 of their last 7. In between, it went pretty well, including a couple of 3 balls from the man at the free throw line, Jack White.
And again, I think that's the Zion effect. Zion would have been able to come up with some extra offensive rebound, putbacks, and things in transition. So the energy's been flat for Duke here in the first half, and they've not been able to sustain anything on the offensive end either.
White now with 7. With 8, and Duke has the lead with 9 seconds remaining here in the first half, and we'll have a timeout just before the break. We've had 5 lead changes, 9 ties so far, and R.J. Barrett's been tremendous getting the ball in the bucket again.
He's been absolutely sensational in every way and been able able to get some turnovers that allows them to get out in transition. And it's 6-7 going against that backcourt tandem there of Wake Forest. You have no shot. And now he just uses his length, waits patiently to see if there's anyone rotating over. No. And now all of a sudden you have a 6'3 guard on him at 6'7. He just gets you inside and spins off of it and shoots over the top. R.J. Barrett has been sensational in this first half.
I would say, Fonz, that he has been flipping the switch.
Okay.
Brought to you by Boost Mobile. Last 4 games, right at 26 points and 8 rebounds per game. All of this coming since Zion Williamson's injury. He's the only player in the ACC to score in double figures in every game this season.
It's ridiculous.
9 seconds left. Wake Forest with a chance to go to the locker room with the lead. Sharon Wright all the way in. Jones had it go out of bounds, and Wake Forest will have another chance with 3 ticks remaining here in the first half. Manning going to send Jalen Horde back in.
Love that decision.
Horde
I'd like
playing with a couple of fouls.
Yeah, I'd like to see Horde, number 10, or Shawnee Brown, number 23, shoot the shot.
You got your wish. Didn't work out. Shawnee thought perhaps he got touched, and Duke, it was not always smooth, but the Blue Devils will go to the locker room with a 1-point lead. R.J. Barrett has 15. The rest of the team just has 20. The last time Wake Forest won in Cameron, Tim Duncan was a senior. Wow. Oh, look, a long way to go here, but the Demon Deacs are hanging tough. Chief Halftime Report is coming up after these messages. Basketball uniform. Duke leading Wake Forest by a single point as we get set to start the second half. Reese Davis, LaFonso Ellis, Brooke Weisbrod will join us in a second, and that might be the biggest takeaway. This Wake Forest team, 4-12 in the ACC, 1 true road win, 1 point behind.
Yeah, their leading scorer, Brandon Childress, who averages 15 points a game, only has 2 in this game. So doing a great job on both ends of the floor.
Now let's take a look at Crunch Time, brought to you by Cheez-It now from the first half.
Absolutely. The weak side defense for the Demon Deacons has been extraordinary. The key to it is being early, and they've been early often here, have forced Duke into 9 turnovers. They've gotten 10 points off of those turnovers, but offensively for Duke, R.J. Barrett has been the man yet again, able to get out in transition. They've been isolating at the top. He's been able to get in the lane and take advantage of that 6'7" frame and shoot over top. 6 of 11 from the field, 15 points in the first half.
And if he gets 10 in the second half, R.J. Barrett will set a Duke record for most points scored by a freshman. He came in 24 behind Marvin Bagley. Brooke, what did John Shire, Duke assistant, have to say?
Yeah, he said in the locker room there was a lot of talk just really about the energy of the guys, but they're just not pleased defensively with on-ball screens. I said, hey, give credit to Wake. They're hitting a lot of shots, but our life, we just don't have life out there. Our energy isn't good. And as far as offense, RJ is doing some things, but they need some help. No guys stepping up to really help. He said, hey, listen, I can stand here and tell you a lot of things that are going wrong, but the biggest thing is our energy.
Brooke, to the point about getting help for R.J. Barrett, he was 6 of 11 from the floor. The rest of the team just 6 of 17. Yeah. And Wake Forest hanging tough, but Wake Forest was down only 8 when these two teams played the first time in Winston-Salem, and Duke ran away with a 22-point victory as the second half is underway.
Well, 16 turnovers is what allowed Duke to get out in transition in that last game. They've been good with the basketball, so for Wake Forest to keep it close and win it on the road, you're going to have to not turn it over and keep Duke off of that offensive glass, which they did very well in the first half.
Marquise Bolden starts the second half for Duke. The senior Antonio Brankovic started in the first. Other than that, it's the lineup that has been familiar the last few games since Zion's injury. Trey Jones goes in and gets the first bucket of the second half. He has 6.
That was a very tough shot by Trey Jones. Jumped off with his left foot. Change of hands there to get it off the glass with his left hand. That was pretty.
And for Wake Forest, Brandon Childress has it. McKenna Smart, Jalen Horde, Sharon Wright Jr., and Shawnee Brown. As Horde misses the shot, and Duke going to get a look from Reddish, who was very quiet in the first half, and misses the 3 ball. And the Blue Devils, who 3 of 10 in the first half and 3, now 3 of 11, and Childress gets his second half started with a triple.
That's big. Sharon Wright Jr. that time on the push, taking the pressure off of Brandon Childress, allowing him to be able to run out in transition. Way to find him there, giving him a clean look, and he knocks it down. Well done there by Wake Forest.
Barrett, a bit of a wild shot, and Wake Forest can take the lead. Childress have been struggling a little bit, perhaps a product of minutes he played and how much they rely on him. It's a blocked shot from Bolden, but for his previous 11 games coming into the night, shooting just about 26%. Jones loses it on his way to the basket, and it'll stay with the Blue Devils.
Yeah, Wake Forest has got to look for these opportunities to push on misses and makes, because now all of a sudden you get that defense, which typically retreats back to the foul line area. You can find wide open jump shooters, as they did nicely there for Brandon Childress.
And Reddish missed the dunk. Reddish, who didn't score a point in the first half, has missed a couple opportunities here, and coming to the other end is Shondi Brown, and Wake Forest is back on top. Brown now with 11.
And it's Wake Forest that have been playing with tempo on missed shots and turnovers from Duke, getting out in transition and getting some easy looks. And again, Reese, not to beat a dead horse, but that's the Zion factor. This place would be lit if he were in the lineup, because he makes plays in transition, gets to the offensive glass, and blocks shots as well. So they miss his energy more than anything out on the floor.
And early in the second half, Jalen Horde has picked up his third foul. An important guy, a freshman from France that Danny Manning would like to see be just a tad more selfish.
Yes.
So today he was a little too unselfish. He's going to have to come take a break now. Danny gives him a little instructions. He headed toward the bench.
Got off to a great start in the first half. 3 from 3 from the field.
R.J. Barrett with a chance for the three-point play.
And that's what we talk about, Reese, with R.J. Barrett. You have to either bring a second guy to double him to get it out of his hands, or you got to get him driving right. You let him go left, it is lights out. You can absolutely forget it. He's got the pull-up J going that direction. He's really good with those little soft, I call them half-hook shots over the top. R.J. Barrett having himself a game. That's his 17th point in this game.
The foul was called on Wright, and if memory serves, that would have been the second time tonight that Wright would have been better served just to let R.J. score.
Yes.
But a foul, but no harm in this case, as Barrett misses the free throw. Childress pulls up.
And I was just getting ready to say, Reese, that for Wake Forest to win this game on the road, Brandon Childress, number 0 in black, has to get it going. 5 points here in the second half after only 2 in the first.
This guy ought to get it going for the Blue Devils, and Reddish can't quite find the range. Demon Deeks on the push. Here goes Childress. And Childress scores again.
A much more aggressive Brandon Childress here in the second half has paid monster dividends for the Demon Deacons.
Childress had 2 in the first half, and he quickly has 9 now. Wake Forest up by 4.
R.J. Barrett has to continue to make plays for himself and his teammates. Can't settle for the J. Get into that blue painted area where he was dominant in the first half.
Childress shakes Jones. Not an easy thing to do. And Childress has another 3, and he's feeling it. Wake Forest up by 7.
Jab step between the legs, step back. Incredible.
Barrett again, that's the 3rd time tonight he's turned it over trying to feed the post or feed the roller from the corners right. High arcing shot, and another 3 for the Demon Deeks. A 10-point lead for Wake Forest on senior night at Cameron, and Krzyzewski wants a timeout.
Folks, Brandon Childress had 2 points in the first half. He's this team's leading scorer. He has taken over the offense here in the second half. Little pull-up J there. And how about this drive in transition? Getting him on his hip, finishing over the top. And how about this one? How about a little jab step? Strolls between the legs, creates separation, knocks down a huge 3. Wake Forest up 10.
A 10-0 Wake Forest run. Look at this crossover, what he does to a great defender, Trey Jones.
Indeed, snatch back between the legs, creating a little separation, reminded me of his dad. Watch this one here. Ooh, a little crossover there on Jeff McGinnis.
Oh, no.
Leaving his underwear there on the floor and waves him over and knocks down a 3. Wow, what a play by Brandon Childress.
Just look at him. Randolph and Brandon Childress are the top father-son scoring duo in ACC history. Randolph had more than 2,200 points in his career at Wake, and Brandon has more than 900. We're at the 1,000-point mark next season. Duke needs a shot. Trey Jones, he has really been struggling from three, but he knocks it down. He's shooting 19% in ACC play, but a huge one there.
4 of his last 25 from 3 over the last 6 games. And Duke needs someone other than R.J. Barrett, number 5 in white, to get scoring on the offensive end. Cam Reddish is 0 for 5 in this game so far.
And Delorier was out there, and he's called for the block. It's a second on Javin. Wake Forest up by a touchdown here at Cameron. Expert testimonial about how Zion Williamson is putting in elite effort to win college basketball highest individual honor in the Wendy's Wooden Watch.
Hey, I'm R.J. Barrett, freshman at Duke, and this is why Zion Williamson should win the Wooden Award. He's a leader out there on the floor for us. He's really efficient. He can do everything on the court, and he's really competitive. He's as unique of a player that I've ever played with.
Wendy's Wooden Watch continues. That's one of the things these two roommates wanted to do as part of the promotion. They wanted to extol the virtues of the other. Both are very deserving winners, though RJ has been able to continue to play while Williamson is missing his 4th straight start. Not sure when he'll come back. Coach K telling us today, though he did expect him back, reserving judgment, certainly not making the decision about whether he will go Saturday against Carolina, but did say he would be surprised if he's not back by the ACC tournament, but that should not be construed as a guarantee. Just a feeling on Mike's part as Brandon Childers, who has been feeling it in the second half, couldn't get it to go. Tremendous offensive rebound from Brown, who had a chance to finish it and is frustrated with himself that he didn't. And a foul is called on the inside. It's going to be on Kenneth Smart. It's his first.
Yeah, that was a good reaction there by Cam Reddish, number 2 in white, to challenge that shot at the top, and it made Shondy Brown change it just a little bit. Watch this. A little challenge at the top, made him shoot a little too hard over the top. Good reaction there by Cam Reddish.
Fine. I don't want to make too much of one play, but Wake is going to have to take and make easy opportunities like that to finish off this upset bid. R.J. Barrett cuts it to 5. He has 19.
Yeah, and R.J. Barrett needs to touch the basketball every time down the floor for Duke. Create offense for himself when he draws a double or a triple team at times. Kick it to open shooters.
Wake Forest had a 10-0 run, and Duke has answered with 5 consecutive points. Smart was by himself for a long time. They didn't get it to him quickly enough, and Delorier blocked it.
You must finish those shots around the rim, and right now, that's really what's allowing Duke to get back in it. Missed opportunities here, and I think this was blocked by the opposite side of the rim. Rush that one. Just give a little shot fake, go up strong, and take your chances there. Another missed opportunity around the rim for the Deacons. I like this. Touch it every time down the floor.
Barrett.
He may have hit his head on one of those cameras down there, Reese.
RJ back up to his feet quickly.
Reese, I'm in favor also of, in college basketball, with these guys becoming so much stronger, more athletic, I think they need more room behind the basket to be able to land. Unfortunately, one of these days, one of these great athletes are going to end up getting injured because there's not enough room, not enough landing space for them behind the backboard.
And foul was called on Okeke. It's his 3rd. RJ is now up to 20. Another 20-point game, extending his own record for 20-point games in a season by a freshman. His 22nd 20-point game. Now he has 21. Just needs 4 more points to pass Marvin Bagley and set the Duke freshman record for scoring in a season, but more pressing as the Blue Devils continuing to work on this deficit, and Wake Forest trying to find themselves offensively after that 10-0 spurt. They've given up 7 straight. Into the lane, the floater is no good from Torrey Johnson. Johnson still fighting for it, but Trey Jones comes out, splits a couple of Demon Deeks, winds up on the deck, and he draws the foul.
Duke is starting to extend their defensive pressure, picking up 94 feet everyone and denying passing lanes in the half court. And doing exactly what they should do on missed shots, turnovers, getting out in transition, trying to get some easy ones. One of the best teams in the country at scoring in transition.
That foul was on Sharon Wright, his second. Barrett working on Wright. Alex O'Connell driving. O'Connell fires his own and one.
And Reese, remember what we talked about. R.J. Barrett has carried this offense for Duke. He needs some other guys to step up and make some plays. Alex O'Connell is certainly capable. 12 points per game over his last 3 for a guy who averages 5 a game.
And you're seeing a little bit of an expansion of the game from O'Connell in the last couple against Miami Saturday. He had 11 points and 5 field goals, only one of them coming from behind the arc. Typically for Alex, it's been everything from behind the arc or nothing. Teams are guarding him now. Duke is within 1. This is freshman night for Duke, and they created a lot of memories in this season. Most notable was what a comeback on February 12th against Louisville. They were down by 23 with 9.5 left. Zion Williamson returned with 4 fouls. Cam Reddish scored 16 of the last 30 points. And the Blue Devils erased that 23-point deficit and beat Louisville by 2. Reddish exploded late in that game, and man, could Duke use him to get going tonight. He has not been able to do anything on offense. Reddish still looking for his first points of the evening.
Yeah, early on, he's making the game a little too hard. He's driving too deep. I think 3 charges, 2 of his 3 fouls in the first half were off charges. He's just got to let the game come to him and settle down, because Duke's going to need his perimeter jump shooting for the balance of this game.
And just like that, the Blue Devils have erased a 10-point deficit. We're locked up at 49. Sharon Wright Jr. gets the pick from OKK, and Sharon Wright puts Wake Forest back on top.
Great decision. Split the double team there, able to get into the gap, and instead of driving too deep, pull up Jay. Wake Forest has been really good with their decision making consistently as they've gotten into the blue area tonight.
Reddish still can't find the range, and Cam's going to chase it down in the backcourt. Fresh shot clock for the Blue Devils.
He's rushing that shot. When he catches it, he's got to take his time and just raise. At 6'8", there's no one for Wake Forest who can challenge his shot.
Barrett. KK had it for a minute, and Torrey Johnson collects it for the Deacons. Mucius pull up. Isaiah's had a little bit of a struggle from the field. He just 1 of 6 shots in the first half. There's just 3 points on the way, and his block is going to be called.
That time, Sunday OKK, 34 in black, wasn't able to get himself outside of the restricted arc, something that Wake Forest did really well with their second side help in the first half. So just a little late getting over. Got to get there a little earlier.
OKK picked up his 4th foul with 12:26 to go. Sunday's been getting some minutes with more minutes with the absence of Olivier Sarr, who continues to battle an ankle injury. R.J. Barrett continues to close in on Marvin Bagley III's Duke freshman scoring record.
This kid's a scoring machine, man. He's a scoring machine.
Just 1 off his average now. Fonz, he hits this, he'll have 23, and that's what he averages.
You know what? He's made the adjustment, too, because he realizes that people are starting to sit on his left hand and force him right. And early on, he used to try to bully through people, turn that thing over, getting charges. Now he's starting to pull up when he goes right. Love the adjustment that he's made throughout the year.
Jack White gets off the loose ball. White's going to have to try it again. Can't get it to go. And White missed twice from point blank. It was fortunate it wasn't called for a foul. And Kenneth Smart's back into the game. A couple of missed opportunities for the Blue Devils. One-point Wake Forest lead.
Yeah, Horde was 3 for 3, number 10 in black in the first half. He's got to get going here in the second half for Wake Forest to pull off this upset.
Up against the shot clock, Fonz. Nothing but an air ball. Barrett pushing it by Horde. Reddish spotting up. Takes his time. Lets it down. Shawnee Brown on the other end. Smart tips it back. It won't go. Blue Devils running again. Goal wire. Trey Jones misses the layup. Right, back and forth we go. Bank won't go. Right on the floor. Brown pulls it out of there, and Shawnee Brown, and it is on the baseline. White touched it while his foot was out of bounds. It'll be Wake Forest basketball. And hey, I don't know if you expected a barn burner here at Cameron on senior night, but that's what you're getting, Pally.
Yeah. And a 14-2 Duke run in these last few minutes in the Wake Forest huddle. Danny Manning addressing his team saying, hey, we understand that they were going to make a run. We get it. Now let's make one of our own. But let's keep getting the ball inside, guys. Every time that we try to drive, we're taking bad shots. And also, remember, the next foul that we give, they're going to be shooting free throws the entire time. So guard without fouling.
And Brooke, for them to get back in this game and to attack, Jalen Horde, number 10 in black, has to get the rock and look to score.
And Farms, they also addressed Horde, and they said, if you have a guard on you, you need to take him right to the rim.
Well, they missed him there, Brooke. He actually had a guard switch on him down low and gold wire, and the ball goes to the other side of the floor. So his teammates have to be cognizant of finding him, especially when he has mismatches.
Barrett sails the pass out of bounds. RJ has scored a lot. He's tried to get his teammates involved, but Duke commits its 11th turnover. I think 4 of them now have been errant passes from Barrett.
We talked about Danny Manning talking about Jalen Horde being a little bit too unselfish. I think at times RJ Barrett, I think he needs to defer to his best attribute, which is his ability to score.
In fairness to him, a few of those have been good ideas, just hasn't been executed the way he would have hoped. Wake Forest is really struggling to get shots to go down, shots that are pretty good looks. As Barrett kicks out to Reddish. Reddish pulls up. You mentioned the charges. Cam, look at Cam hustling. He loses it out of bounds. He was the last to touch it. Cam Reddish, who really sparked not only that Louisville comeback with his offense, but with plays just like that. Gets on the floor. Couldn't get that one, but trying to infuse some energy into this Duke team as Wake Forest has it down by 2. They've missed 11 of their last 12 shots. Kentucky and Ole Miss follows us 9 o'clock Eastern time. Hotty-toddy in the pavilion against the Cats. Childress from the corner. Buckets for 3, and Wake Forest is back on top. He has 15.
No hesitation on that jump shot.
And Brandon Childress passed his average after a very quiet first half, in which he just had 1 field goal. Has been tremendous here in the second half. Reddish answers.
But you see how patient he was on that one? Little jab step to create the space and then took his time getting into a shot. When he takes his time getting into a shot, he is so much more efficient in shooting the 3 than it is when he just catches it and lets it go.
Horde working on Reddish. Jalen gets to the baseline, and foul is going to be called on Reddish, and that's number 4 on Cam.
Folks, watch as this ball reverses the floor here for Wake Forest. Now all of a sudden you kick it over to Jalen Horde, and Trey Jones is playing up the line and can't see where the ball's coming from, and Brandon Childress drills it, and now Cam Reddish. Watch the jab step here. Creates the separation, takes his time getting into that 3 ball. So much more efficient when he takes his time. Reese doesn't need to rush. He's 6'8". There's no one out there on the floor for Wake Forest that can challenge that jump shot.
Well, now they won't have to deal with Cam Reddish as he goes to the bench. 9:06 to play with 4 fouls. Alex O'Connell has returned for Duke, as has Javin Delorier. Kenneth Smart into the lineup for Wake Forest as Isaiah Musius goes to the bench. And the free throws aren't there, and Duke has the ball in a 2-point lead.
Wake Forest typically 73% from the foul line. Usually pretty good as a team.
There's 3 of 7 so far. RJ Barrett step back, rattles out on the 3. Jalen Horde, the rebound for Wake. Shawnee Brown off the window. Soft touch ties it at 56.
That's really a tough shot for a right-hand shooter to make. Dribbling drive hard to his left hand, going away from the rim, drew a little body contact, still able to get that off the glass. Well done by Shawnee Brown.
They're tied for the 13th time tonight. Fonz Barrett gets in the paint, scoops it up, and scores.
Reese, I'd like to see that one again. Did R.J. Barrett's feet touch the floor before he let that basketball go? Either way, that was an incredible move.
It was close. And he's also scored 24, which is what he needed to match Marvin Bagley. Next point from R.J. Barrett will set a Duke freshman season record. Childress, his feet didn't touch the floor, but he couldn't get the scoop. Now Duke has numbers. Barrett for three. Still can't find it. Jones keeps it alive. Tremendous work by Trey Jones. Here's Jack White.
Tell you what, when that one left his hand, I thought that was going down. Technique on that one was perfect.
That's the thing about White's shooting slump is the vast majority of the shots that he's taken look that way. He's had a lot of tough shooting. Like Brown nestles one in.
I love the decision because Duke is switching 1 through 5. Shawnee Brown realizes that he has Javin Delary at 6'10", 230 out there on the floor. Just sets him up, rock dribbles, creating that separation and knock that one down. Well done by 23 in black.
15 for Brown tonight. That's 3.5 above his average. Jones splits the defenders and gets tripped and took a tough tumble as he was trying to get the ball into the paint. And fouls on Ikenna Smart. That's his second. You wanted to see if R.J. Barrett feet touched the floor?
Yeah, it just looked a little odd from up here in the roost, but now don't get me wrong, Rich. That was an incredible move. I mean, putting that thing on the floor to his right, little
not if
back
his feet
here.
touch the floor.
Oh yeah, if feet touch the floor, that should be travel going the other way.
Duke was a 26.5-point favorite with 6:55 to play on senior night and the final night for their freshman in Cameron Indoor. They're tied. This could be a huge factor. Just on the last play before the break, Trey Jones was trying to split the defenders. Ikenna Smart was called for the foul. Watch what happens to Jones' right leg in the knee area. They were testing his knee throughout the timeout. They've sent him back out there, and Trey has been walking around gingerly as he steps to the free throw line. You don't want to speculate certainly on what the injury is, but it is easy to tell from the way he's standing and moving that he, at the moment, is not 100%, though maybe it's loosening up. That's the best he's moved since he got up off the deck, just walking up to the free throw line right now.
Tell you what, with what happened to his shoulder earlier in the year when he went down, man, the air just went out of the building. It was so quiet in here, and understandably so.
Mike Krzyzewski was talking to us before the game because of the injury to Jones and to Zion Williamson. And, you know, if Zion doesn't come back against North Carolina, they will basically have played half of their ACC schedule at less than full strength.
Yes.
With somebody being out. Reddish missed the game against Syracuse too. And Jones makes the free throws, but then hobbles his way to the bench as Reddish returns with 4 fouls, and Duke with a 2-point lead. Zion Williamson in street clothes and Trey Jones being attended to by the Duke medical staff at the far end of the Blue Devil bench.
Now, this changes Duke defensively because of Trey Jones' ability to be able to pick up 94 feet.
Laurier almost got the steal. Brandon Childress in a lot of trouble. Got bailed out. Shot clock at 5. Shawnee Brown. Wow, with another big bucket. Shawnee Brown now with 17.
His ability to go left and use that strong upper body to be able to create space and step away and knock down that 15-footer is incredible.
R.J. Barrett misses. Jack White had to follow, do everything but go in. And Jones is headed back to the locker room to be checked out, and that is, that just has the entire Blue Devil faithful with their hearts in their throat.
Folks, watch Sean D. Brown there driving on Cam Reddish and uses that upper body to be able to create a little room to get that shot off. We've seen 2 of those from him tonight. He's been extraordinary in that facet of the game.
And they're calling Brandon Childress for being in the cylinder. So Brandon, though he got the worst of the contact, is going to be called for the foul.
Reese, it'll be interesting to see if they go to the monitor on this. Did he catch an elbow or was that a shoulder? Well, caught a little bit of that left elbow there, so they're going to go take a look.
Officials will go check it out. You know, this is while the officials are looking at this to see if there was unnecessary contact or flagrant contact that rises to the level of being a flagrant one. You know, Wake Forest has had its struggles this year. They're about to get a new athletic director in John Curry. You see Barrett going through. To me, Fonz, I mean, I know they're trying to make sure that nobody takes big shots, but there's a little push off there.
Yeah.
But this is more the product of R.J. Barrett having about 7-8 inches height on Brandon Childress.
Yeah, what I was trying to see, Reese, is did the elbow make contact? The elbow didn't look like it made contact, and if it didn't above the shoulders, then a flagrant one would not be assessed.
See Childress talking with the official. The foul was called on him. Barrett makes one of these free throws, and no flagrant call. If Barrett makes one of these, it will set a Duke record. For points by a freshman, you can't get it to go. I was saying a minute ago about Wake Forest. They're about to bring in a new athletic director on May 1st, John Curry. Ron Wellman is stepping down, and one of the things Curry has said is that wanted to make sure the basketball program gets right. Danny Manning was given a contract extension last offseason, but it has certainly been a struggle, and now his 5th year there. They're 40 games below 500 in ACC play, but this is a really young team. A lot of people have young teams. All young teams don't look like Duke, but they have fought. They've fought their guts out tonight. 547 away with the opportunity to pull a massive upset.
Yeah, only 3 significant returning players: Brandon Childress, Shondy Brown, Olivier Sarr, who's not even playing tonight. 7 new scholarship players on this team. So we talked about the youth and the inexperience. It's taken its toll on the Demon Deacons this year.
McKenna Smart put it on the ground one too many times. And they missed an opportunity to get a quick shot up off the good feed. But Wake Forest will have the ball baseline underneath. Shot clock reads 4 at the moment, 5.5 to play. Lob to Horde. And a foul is called on the inbound.
I love the decision. Duke is switching a lot of that action, and Jalen Horde, number 10 in black, is finding himself with a lot of the smaller players from Duke on him. That ball has to find him. I like the recognition there.
With the foul called on Jordan Goldwire, shot clock goes back to 20, so not quite as urgent for the Demon Deacons as they try to get a good shot up. I don't know that necessarily constitutes the definition of a good shot.
Yeah, that's a bad shot there. Another missed opportunity for Wake. So we've seen him take a couple bad shots, missing some opportunities around the rim. Can't do that on the road against the top teams in the country.
That play just hasn't been there tonight for R.J. Barrett as Deloria is going to the bucket, and they turn it over again on it, and all the way in, and scoring is Torrey Johnson. His first bucket, and Wake Forest has a lead under 5 minutes to play.
Well, those opportunities have been there. Whenever Duke has turned it over or missed a shot, Wake Forest has been really good when they push the basketball up the floor. I'd like to see a lot more of that in the last 4 minutes and 40 seconds of this game.
Barrett, Delorier. Javin's first field goal of the night, tied at 62. Johnson, who just had the last bucket, thought about it for a second and backs it out. Now he drives again. It's blocked by Barrett. Saved by O'Connell, and Reddish can't hold it. Now the officials are going to talk it over. They initially pointed in Duke's direction, but I believe they got together and straightened that out. Now it'll be Wake Forest basketball.
Yeah, I didn't see anyone from Wake Forest touch it after Alex O'Connell tried to save it and threw it out of bounds.
He was looking for Reddish. They couldn't connect, and sort of microcosm of the night. Blue Devils have been a little bit out of sync. Sharon Wright's back in, and Wright drives, collision, and the foul is called. And Sharon gets the foul called on him. We've got 4 minutes to play in Cameron Indoor. Wake Forest bidding for the huge upset. Huge implications here for maybe the upset of the season. Wake Forest tied with Duke, 4 minutes to play. The Demon Deacons haven't won in Cameron since Tim Duncan's senior year. If they can pull it off, it will be their first top 25 road win since 2010. Wow. And the last time they've beaten Duke anywhere, exactly 5 years ago today. Blue Devils have won the last 9 meetings, so to set the stage, no Zion Williamson, didn't dress out. Trey Jones has left the game with a knee injury, and the Blue Devils have the ball.
Yeah, I like the ball in R.J. Barrett's hands, though he turns that one over there. I thought that ball was still on his body. And, oh, they call a foul there. Okay. Is there a foul?
I think they just called it being knocked out of bounds by Wake Forest. Danny Manning
is
should
be Wake Forest
begging
ball.
to differ.
Yeah. The side ball screen, when Duke has run ball screens with R.J. Barrett's been really good. It's the middle one that they've struggled with.
Alex O'Connell and delivers the 3-ball. Trey Jones is going to the scorer's table right now, waiting to check back into the game after being checked out in the Duke locker room. His team with a 3-point lead. See if Wake Forest has the answer.
Sean D. Brown's been good off the bounce.
And he shuffled the feet. Oh. Jordan Goldwire goes to the bench, and Trey Jones receives a raucous welcome from the Crazies.
And we talked about a Duke team that's not consistently had energy tonight. Is that the energy injection that they need with Trey Jones coming back into the game? We'll see here with 3 minutes to go. But R.J. Barrett has to make plays for himself and his teammates on these side ball screens.
Childress got a hand on it to keep O'Connell from getting a clean catch. Brandon pleading his case that Alex got a fingernail on it.
I actually thought so from where we're sitting. Up in the roost, you can see a lot more than you can see down on the floor.
As most are familiar, the broadcast position at Cameron is not directly courtside, is high above. Good vantage point to see the game as Barrett working on Brown. Jones is in the corner, and Jones, my goodness, takes another spill as Torrey Johnson went into him, chasing a 3rd foul on Johnson.
Let's take a look here. Torrey Johnson just running out for the wow.
That hit him.
Taking some shots tonight.
I don't think there's necessarily good news to taking a shot like that, but that one appeared to be on the left side this time. And Jones has his 12th point to go with 8 rebounds and 3 assists. And remarkably, the 26-point favorite Duke Blue Devils have their largest lead of the night at 4 with 2 minutes and 50 seconds to play and make it 5.
When Wake Forest went on their run early in the second half, it was really on the hands of the guy with the basketball right now, number 0, Brandon Childress. If they're going to win this game here at Cameron Indoor Stadium, Brandon Childress has to make it happen on the offensive end.
Feels like a huge possession for the Demon Deacons, and they throw it into the bench. I would not begrudge anybody for wanting to get the ball to Danny Manning in clutch time.
Right.
But I don't think that was the right time for it. 3 straight trips with a turnover for the Demon Deacons.
Yeah, that ball's got to be in and stay in Brandon Childress' hands. He's got the experience of the guards out there on the floor for Wake Forest right now.
Deacons have been a poor defensive team. They need a stop in the worst way, and they get it. Childress with the rebound off the Barrett miss. Childress to the corner. Clean look for Johnson. Brown fighting for the rebound, and probably too aggressively as R.J. Barrett corrals it. And the foul is called on Brown. That's his third. You can sense some anxiety now from Wake Forest as they're starting to press.
Yeah, you can see it
Here
with
in
that
crunch
little
time.
turnover that nearly went to Danny Manning here 2 possessions ago. Look at the emotion that's taking place right now with R.J. Barrett, something that we've not seen consistently throughout this game.
Barrett just 6 of 11 from the free throw line tonight. And 6 of 12.
Bruce, I'd like to see him hold his follow-through here. He's fallen off that shot at the last second.
Over his now last
Much
4
better.
games, including this one.
I thought that one was down.
And Fonz, he's just at 50% from the free throw line. With 26 free throws, he's made just 13 of them over his last 4, including this game. They'll need him to shoot them at a higher clip as Duke comes down the stretch of the season. Childress takes advantage and makes it a 1-possession game. $1:46 to play. 17 for Brandon Childress.
Notice how that ball was in and stayed in Brandon Childress' hands. It's got to be that way the last minute, 46 seconds of this game.
Sports Center coming up on ESPN and the ESPN app after Kentucky and Ole Miss tonight. It'll be Anderson and Michael Eaves. They'll take you inside the Duke locker room. Remains to be seen just how happy a place that will be. The last 146 will determine that. The Beast of the East. How about the Milwaukee Bucks and the threat that they have there? And Yasiel Puig. Okay, now this is a tease. What makes him tick? Okay, yeah, that would be interesting. What makes him cry? Oh, you know, look to know. A little bit of Puig one-on-one hanging with him. Sports Center 11 Eastern on ESPN and the app. Good to see Bryce Harper was rescued and found a place to play baseball this season. Right?
Yes. He's a little homeless there for a bit.
I was very concerned for a while that he wasn't going to be able to play.
We could have used him in St. Louis.
Big Cardinals fan.
Yes.
Man, you are. Grew up in East St. Louis. Brandon Childress trying to lead Wake Forest to what would be one of their great victories, certainly one of the great victories in recent years. But he's down 3, he and his teammates. Duke has the ball, bringing it into the front court. Trey Jones is on the floor after getting banged up and checking out the knee. No Zion Williamson.
Got to keep Duke out of the painted area and keep them from second chance opportunities here.
Shawnee Brown, good hands to knock Barrett off his rhythm, but now Barrett shakes and gets in the paint. R.J. Barrett.
And Reese, that's what happens when you gamble on the defensive end. You have R.J. Barrett contained to his right side. Now you gamble there, and you create an opening for him to get to his left hand. Now it's lights out when he gets in there. He's nearly impossible to guard when he gets into the painted area.
And with a footnote, it is that basket that gives R.J. the Duke freshman scoring record for a single season, moving him past Marvin Bagley III, who set it last year. The free throw line has vexed R.J. tonight, though. Brown pushing, beats Delorier to the basket, but can't make the layup. The tip in by Hoare, but a whistle. Delorier is called for the foul. It's his third.
As you know, Reese, the balance of this game, I've really enjoyed when Wake Forest has been able to get out on missed shots and turnovers and look for early opportunities. That was a really good decision by Shawnee Brown there.
He is an 82% free throw shooter, and he is clean, and now 18 points for Shawnee Brown, the sophomore from Orlando, Florida.
I'd like to see a little full court pressure here from Wake Forest, and got to be aware, though, because Duke likes to throw that thing over the top long, so they're going to keep the basketball and their man in front.
Back to 1-possession game, $1:15 to go. And we've had some Duke games this year, and it's come right down to the wire. The Louisville rally, losing at Virginia Tech. It came in late as Barrett goes in, and I think they're going to call Barrett the offensive foul.
Now, Reese, I couldn't quite see it from my angle because I was shielded a little bit. I was wondering if R.J. Barrett used that inside left arm to create a little separation, and is that what the official saw? I don't know about that one, Fred.
You can go ahead and say it. That's Barrett's 7th turnover tonight, but I don't think he deserved that one. That was, in my judgment, not a good call.
I would agree.
So Wake Forest hopes to take advantage of it. Calls go both ways sometimes. You get good ones, you get bad ones. Can you take advantage in the final minute? Down 3 to the number 4 team in the country. Childress. Rebound right. He missed the layup. Brown has it back. Brown gets it again. Draws contact. And if it had gone, he'd have a chance to tie. Shawnee Brown is growing up. Man, oh man, is he playing a great game tonight.
Yeah, this is an excellent offensive rebounding team for Wake Forest. They've out-rebounded teams 230 to 163. Look at this effort on the offensive glass. Shawnee Brown in amongst the trees. Little ball fake, getting everyone up. And an opportunity for 2 free throws here.
All those guys in Wake Forest were going all Moses Malone. They were just missing them all and padding their rebound stats.
Right.
Brown has his 4th 20-point game of the season.
I just want you to know, everybody's going, Moses Malone, look it out. Look it out.
Moses could do work sort of around and underneath the rim.
My goodness.
1-point game, 40 seconds to go. About a 12.5-second differential shot clock, game clock.
I like to see that ball in R.J. Barrett's hands.
Duke's going to call a timeout. Up by 1. So you were saying?
No, just late game situations, especially with Zion Williamson's out. I'd like to see that basketball in R.J. Barrett's hands. I know he's turned it over. He's got 7 turnovers in this game, but he's so good at getting into that painted area.
1-point game here. 31 ticks go. Let's check in with Kevin Connors.
Yeah, and Reese, we want to let Big Blue Nation and Ole Miss fans know that game is underway right now over on ESPN News. Kentucky 1 game behind Tennessee and LSU atop the SEC standings. Virginia Tech, Florida State in overtime over on ESPNU, and a good one in Cameron, Reese.
I would say so, for sure. Shawnee Brown scored 10 of Wake Forest's last 14 points. Deacons with a 4-12 ACC record, 11-17 overall, trying to win in Cameron for the first time since 1997 when Tim Duncan was a senior. Wow. Coach K dialing up some ball plays, and there Danny Manning doing the same on this end. You're going to decipher what Krzyzewski's drawing here and tell us what's going to happen?
Yeah, I was trying to figure out if he was going to put RJ in a situation where he would catch the basketball on the side, because they've had great they've been very efficient, Duke, when they've gotten him involved in a ball screen on a side ball screen right side of the floor, which allows him to be able to get to the middle of the floor off of his left hand, his strong hand, being able to finish inside.
So each team with 1 timeout remaining. Both teams in the bonus. Duke's in the double bonus. 13 seconds differential shot clock and game clock. Next time the ball hits the rim, shot clock will go off. Here's Barrett. Delorier setting the screen.
Ball's got to get to the middle of the floor. It's actually a zone.
Barrett gets in the paint. Switch to the right hand fouls. And now Wake Forest will use his last timeout.
I love the strategy by Danny Manning going to a little bit of a zone, and that's why you have to attack it in the middle. And watch Barrett here get down in the lane. He rarely uses that offhand, but used it masterfully there.
Let me correct myself, Fonz. If you look at Barrett scoring there, I assumed Wake called the timeout. It was Duke who called the final timeout to set their defense. So, 17 seconds to play, 3-point lead. If Duke chooses to foul, if you look at Barrett's numbers tonight, to put Wake Forest on the line, at what point in the clock should they do so, if you think they should do so?
Yeah, I'm not a big proponent of that, actually. Duke is a really good defensive team, one of the top defensive teams in the nation, number 4 in defensive adjusted efficiency. And so I think you got to trust your defense. For Wake Forest, that basketball's got to be in the hands of Brandon Childress, number 0 in black. And if they can find Shawnee Brown in the half court with a matchup that they like, let Shawnee Brown take it off the bounce. But they've got to do it quickly.
Well, Wake's hit 4 of 8 from 3 in the second half, but on the season, 329th in the country. They've got time to get it quick, too, and Childress does just that. With 7.4 to go, now they're going to have to foul. And now there is a turnover immediately.
Jack White trying to communicate with R.J. Barrett, and in his communication, he actually straddled the line with the basketball. That's a turnover. Wow. What a huge turnover for the Blue Devils.
And now Wake Forest has a chance to take the lead. Okeke has the ball. Childress is who they want to have it. Childress puts it up. Tough shot. Brown gets the rebound, and it will not go down. And Duke somehow, some way escapes.
Wow. Reset ball touched every single part of the rim before it rolled off.
How on earth did that shot not go in?
Wow, you get the basketball into the hands of the guy that you want, Brandon Childress, but what a quick read there by Cameron Reddish using his 6'8" wingspan. But wow, Shawnee Brown gets it off in time. Watch this ball, folks. It goes down and touches every part of the rim and comes out. That is a heartbreaking play for the Demon Deacons.
Shawnee Brown had 21 points in the game, and so close.
Wow.
To having 23 in the game winner.
Reese, look at this ball. Oh my gosh.
An absolute gut punch for Wake Forest, who fought their tails off, and they come up 1 point short. Duke wins it 71-70. Carolina is next for the Blue Devils. Kentucky and Ole Miss coming up next on ESPN. For Brooke Weisbro and LaFonso Ellis, I'm Reese Davis saying good night from Cameron.